we're gonna transition over to tight ends. There's not a lot of. Did you guys want to talk about?
We can talk about a couple tight ends. Yeah, why not?
I mean, we kind of exhausted receivers there. I mean, there's not a lot of surprises up at the top.
Number 1 and 2 are pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Graham and
Gronk.
I mean, that's
Greg Olsen.
Which one would you take one over the other? Would you take Graham or would you take Gronk? If you had the choice.
Graham has potential to stay healthier. Gronk has the potential to run the game.
You know what's kind of interesting, though? I see the auction value of these two. Look at the split. Gronk at $42 million.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Graham at 26. That kind of just shows like the value Gronk has at number 1.
Yeah, I don't think the discrepancy is that much.
And look at the next tight end drops to 7. So it's pretty much those two.
I mean,
your hands on one of those
Jimmy
two.
Graham is fantastic. Let's see if his injuries hold up. Same thing with Gronk. Those big guys that, I mean, they just get injured a lot.
Well, even Graham last year had some injury problems too.
Yeah, no, and I mean that affected.
I had him on my team, little punk.
So I mean, unless you're willing to risk injury with a guy with Gronk in maybe the second round, I would not recommend taking him in the first round. Don't do that. Even if he might be, I've seen him as high as 5 on consensus rankings, which is dumb. But Jimmy Graham, late second at the highest.
I think I got Jimmy in the 3rd last year.
Yeah, I mean, I could see 3rd. If he's in there in the 4th, I probably wouldn't take him just because
3rd.
Yeah, if he's there in the I
don't see them going much farther than that.
It's hard for me to draft.
Again, a really scarce position.
The only year I had a good tight end was Jimmy Graham. The first year that he was good, when he was going head to head with Gronkowski for the yardage and touchdown records for tight ends. That was great. Everyone was like, "Who's Jimmy Graham?" Yeah, Tim especially was like, "I don't even know who that is," and I was like, "Just wait and see." And
now he's with the Seahawks.
I know.
Yeah, thanks. Another good veteran tight end at 3, Greg Olsen. I don't disagree with that.
Solid PPR guy. Yeah. Consistent production.
Yeah, I mean he's one of the more consistent. The one guy that dropped that was up there, debatable with Jimmy Graham and Gronkowski as far as production goes, was Julius Thomas. He's on Jacksonville now.
That's a big
good luck.
Big difference.
And if Jacksonville can figure out how to move the ball down the field and get it in the red zone, Julius Thomas is one of the best tight end, or he is.
That's a tough one because that's such a big. You go from one of the top NFL franchises, top ends of the NFL, to one of the worst franchises, one of the worst offenses of the NFL.
Yeah.
How much can one player make? How much difference can he really make?
He didn't go to Jacksonville because he thought he was going to be a big producer. He thought he was going to get a lot of money, and that's what he did. Number 4, Travis Kelce. I'm a little surprised to see him at 4. Another KC guy, receiver. It's tough to say if they're going to throw the ball more than they did last year. He had flashes of being one of those top tier guys, but they didn't give him enough touches.
Alex Smith's going to throw to. So
yeah, and so I mean we'll see there. Martellus Bennett down at 5. He's been solid for a few years now. They lost Brandon Marshall.
More looks for Martellus.
Yeah, I mean you never know if he's going to get more touches than any of the other receivers there, but I mean he's tall. He's a good red zone target. They have a good enough run game to get him in the red zone enough. A good enough quarterback, so we'll see there. Jason Witten down at 7.
It's too old.
Too old. Yeah, no, I disagree with having him at 7. I'd put him more towards like 12 or 15.
I'd take guys like Gates, Cameron, Dwayne. I'd take all those guys over.
Antonio Gates is old too, but if I'm choosing between Jason Witten and Antonio Gates, I'd probably take a flyer like Jordan Reed over those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, you're fighting between a guy that's going to average 2 points more.
You might be able to find a guy on waivers better than what you're drafting.
Yeah,
slate.
And after the first 5 or 6 guys at tight end, you might end up picking and dropping up tight ends off waiver wire anyway, almost on a week-to-week basis. That's what I ended up doing last year until I traded for Martellus Bennett late in the season.
Don't waste your pick.
Yeah, don't. And the only reason
higher upside receiver
and really trading for tight ends is tough because the only reason I was able to get Martellus Bennett is because I believe the guy that I traded him with had
Rob already.
Yeah. Rob Gronkowski, and so he was fine with giving him Martellus because he was doing nothing on his bench. I didn't really give up a whole lot, and especially one of my strategies, and it's worked out well for me so far. Near the end of the season, if you know you're in the running, I usually get a set lineup after week 12 where I might make a trade after that to kind of bolster my team if I can. But I'm not trading for a guy that's going to sit on my bench in the playoffs. I'm trading for starters. And after that, I will, especially in the 2 quarterback system, if I have a third quarterback that's barely serviceable, I'll drop him, pick up the 2 backups for my 2 starters, and then do the same with my running backs and maybe a wide receiver, tight end, stuff like that. So, I mean, trading for a tight end can be tough because...
Watch out if Brian comes with you with the trade, just climbing in your windows.
Snatching your people
He's snatching your players up. Hide Adrian Peterson, hide Jamal Charles, hide him because he's coming after.
Oh, best trade. I just have to say this because it's just funny. I got number 2 pick last year, and I drafted Adrian Peterson. Would have been absolutely awful for my team if before the season I had not traded him away.
Oh, that's right. You traded him before he got suspended for beating kids.
Yep.
Again, the timing impeccable. Someone's looking after you.
Yep.
Brian, somebody.
I'm in the know in the fantasy leagues.
Fantasy gods are
there's
praises.
There's a few guys down the list. Jordan Reed, like I mentioned earlier, at 16. One of the replacements for Jimmy Graham for the Saints, Josh Hill. He had
shoes to fill.
He had a handful of touchdowns last year though. Even with God, that was bad.
That's solid.
Even with Jimmy Graham on the field, Josh Hill was able to score a few touchdowns last year. So we'll see if he's able to do that. He's at 13 here. Probably not. Probably closer to late teens. You have guys at 18. Kyle Rudolph is a good guy.
I think he's the most underrated guy in this tight end list right now.
Yeah.
Coming off an injury, too.
Yeah, coming off an injury. I mean, he was supposedly going to be very, very good last year. Unfortunately, injuries kept him off the field, but stay away from Heath Miller, probably. I know I said Pittsburgh was going to be good, but even last year when Ben was...
I mean, let's be real now. I mean, you're drafting a tight end, like probably in the 13th round. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean,
at this point,
but,
I mean,
but also
defense might be preferable, or
but I mean, there are a couple of guys that you might want to throw on your bench. I mean, Vernon Davis is down at 26. You know how good Vernon Davis was.
Crazy.
Like, I mean, he was top 5.
Worth a flyer, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's worth a
flyer.
Jermaine Gresham's gone in Cincy, so maybe Tyler Eifert. Whatever you want to say.
The Eifert Tower.
Kobe Fleener at 21 in Indy. If Dwayne Allen doesn't play, I don't even know if he's still on the Colts. But
he is. He's number 9, I believe, ranked.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Wow. All right. Yep. So, I mean, I always thought that...
I mean, Richard Rodgers, I've heard good things from Green Bay, that he's going to be our solid pass-catching tight end for our future. Mm-hmm. So another potential guy.
Rookie tight end, probably not going to do much, but Austin Seferian Jenkins from Tampa Bay, he was like supposedly the next. I think he's supposedly the next guy.
With the next big tight end.
Yeah.
How do you know that?
Because he got drafted by the Bucks, and I pay attention to the NFC South, unlike everybody else in the world.
Okay. At least in Sacramento.
Yeah.
Everyone's all about that NFC West.
So we got all position players taken care of.
Yeah.
I don't know that we're gonna have much to say about defenses other than
get
them early, get the good ones if you can.
I think
not. I mean, when I say early, I mean 8th round and after.
My strategy: I never draft defense till the very end, because some years the defenses that were the best sometimes are the middle or even the worst. Like there's a lot of it's very volatile.
There are.
So I think you can pick up a good defense.
Picking defenses off.
That's just me though.
I've always done that. There's this one guy in our league that always drafts like 4 defenses early. His name's Rocky.
It's always on one guy.
And it ruins
the bye week.
It ruins it I'll think that maybe I'm gonna draft a a defense, but then he ends up drafting like 2 on the go round, and I'm on the opposite side of the draft, and then 3 more get taken because it's like a fire sale. Once one of a certain position gets thrown up on the board, everyone
jumps on it.
Yeah, everyone jumps on the bandwagon, and so by the time it gets back around to me, I'm hoping maybe I'll get like one of the top 3 defenses, but then I'll end up with like 9 or 10, and then at that point,
just look at some of the defenses that are top rated. The Bills, the Rams. I mean, those
Bills are a good defense. No, Bills have a good defense.
Right. But I mean, like just a couple years ago, they were at the bottom. You know what I mean? So it's very up and down defenses. You can be great one year, terrible the next year.
And the Broncos were supposed to be better than they were last year. Now they're rated at 6. They could be that good. They could be worse. Seahawks. I think
that's the only defense that I would personally. Okay, I could draft them in one of those rounds. I would take them over like a potential tight end, receiver, running back. That would be otherwise. Yeah. I probably don't take any of those other defenses. I'd rather take a flyer on a receiver, a rookie quarterback.
Yeah. If you are in a
that's just me though.
If you are in a two defensive team league, though, you do want to get at least one solid defense.
That's right. Are we doing 2 defenses?
We don't know yet.
No. I talked to our commissioner Troy.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
We're doing one defense.
I actually wouldn't mind that. I think that'd be kind of fun.
Well, and I suggested to him 2 defenses still and keeping the kicker because he wanted to get rid of the kicker altogether. Cause
I'm for that.
I had considered it.
I hate picking a kicker every week. It's such a crapshoot. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, with the 2 defenses, it's.
It really is. I mean, it's just the flip of the coin. Just I hope this guy, unless you get one of the top 5 kickers.
Just choose a team that moves the ball down the field and.
I've heard these guys complain about kickers. I think there's a lot more strategy to kickers than they give them credit for. There are the random guys like Rob Baronis that'll get you 25 points.
Oh yeah,
randomly.
I remember that.
And give you a W in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, that was a great day.
That sounds oddly specific,
God, I'm chewing on that
which
right
it
now.
is. I mean, it's happened.
Me and Troy had the matchup of the century. First round of the playoffs. Probably had the 2 best teams. Went super high score. Rob Baronis scored me over 20 points from the kicker position. And my defense scored me, I think, 17, 18. And I ended up beating him by a couple points and went on to win the title that year.
Yep. So don't sleep on defenses and kickers, man. They can win you games, especially if a kicker's going to get 18 points. Or they can lose you
games, Brian.
So last year, going into the Monday night game, I was playing Mr. Brandt. I was up by 2, and I had the Patriots defense
against Kansas City.
Against Kansas City, the week that they lost 41-14. Bad week for Patriots defense.
Yeah, I got you -4.
Yep.
You got me the win.
I had planned on taking them out, and I was driving at the time that I was doing it, which I shouldn't have been doing, but it didn't save because I was doing it on the app, which I hardly use. And so I forgot to hit
pulled
submit.
over, I made sure.
I forgot to hit submit, I guess. I switched it and then locked my phone. And then I saw after the first quarter had started that I kept them in, and I was like, all right, whatever. Like, right, they're not going to get
bad, right? Like,
I would have had
Kansas
to,
City.
In order to lose, I would have had to get -3 points. Evidently, I got -4 points, and I lost. But, I mean...
It doesn't matter, you won the title.
Yeah, I won the title.
But,
I'm not going to complain.
It's still funny, though.
No, it was I mean, I could see how it was funny. I was a little mad.
I'd be pissed, too.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's why fantasy's great, though.
Yep.
It's pretty fun.
Like,
stories like that.
Like, I should have won, but Tyler ended up winning. I can come up with...
I remember talking to Tim that day. I was like, you know what? The only chance I got, I'm just hoping, like, Jamal Charles gets, like, 4 touchdowns and, like, just goes off and, like, just have one of his games.
And, I mean...
There's always hope. There's always hope.
Things like that are what makes fantasy football great. Because, I mean, when I traded for Mike Evans, I needed another receiver. That's why I added him into the trade. It was kind of an afterthought. I was trying to get Jamal Charles. And then Mike Evans scores 40 points in the first game that I have him. Like... Those are the moments I cherish in fantasy, and then obviously collecting that big fat stack of money.
Fat stack
at the end of the season, getting that W
and the trophy as well.
I think I'm gonna revamp the trophy a little bit.
All right.
I'm not gonna ruin it too much.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep the core.
What happened to the Brandt sticker on there?
I have no idea. I haven't examined it, but I'll keep the
still
core
on the-
essence
Tyler
of it.
was the champion last year. Brian's champion this year.
Yeah.
Was I the champion the year before?
No, that was Chris Kramer. I think.
No.
Yeah.
Didn't I win it? And
No, it was
then-
Chris.
All right. Well,
It was Chris.
this debate
Does
is
that be kind of cool? Because that'd be like the last three champions,
It was
right?
no, it was Jim.
Yeah.
I beat Jim
No,
in the final, though.
No, you didn't.
I did.
No, you didn't. Jim won.
It was
I remember.
Jim and
All
then
right.
Chris.
So,
Yeah, there you go.
final talk. Tyler, do you have
it's,
any?
It's on the trophy.
I will look at it.
Tell
I'll
me
look at
tonight.
it.
I wanna
Yeah,
know.
I'll let you know. Final thoughts. Any advice for any noobs to fantasy football? Any
Don't
draft?
draft a defense or kicker too early, man. Just because they're number one just doesn't mean you have to take them like in the 8th round or whatever. Go for a deep bench. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Say for newbies, don't be a homer. You know, a lot of people. Oh, I'm a big Eagles fan. I'm gonna draft the whole Eagles team. Niners. I'm gonna draft Colin and this guy. You can't be a homer. I mean, I'll pick one or two at the most guys from my team that I like.
I mean,
For the most part, you got to pick what's there. You can't pick based on your favorite team. Otherwise, you'll find yourself at the bottom of the rankings. So.
Although that being said, this isn't my piece of advice, but also don't draft players you hate, because you don't want fantasy football to ruin football.
That is true. That ultimately, if it's ruining football for you, and don't even play.
Yeah.
It's pointless.
It
should enhance.
You know what's great about fantasy football is it makes all those useless games like if you're watching like a Tampa Bay, Tennessee. If let's just say like the only reason people are watching is Jameis and Mariota. Well, let's just say like
definitely
any other reason.
The NFL loves it. They get a bunch more money because people watch the pointless games.
That's what it is.
Fantasy.
Yeah,
that's why I love watching them too.
Yeah, people are going to watch Jaguars games this year because they're going to have Julius Thomas on their team, and he's one of the biggest threats there, if not, or he is the biggest threat to score there. So, every time they have the ball, someone's going to be flipping to it. But we'll end the podcast. I'm going to say, don't cry about the team that you draft.
There's always hope.
There's always hope.
Free agency, baby.
Yeah, if you're active on the free agent market, even if people make fun of you because you pick up so many people, if you pick up 7 people and only one of those people are good, you might not have picked. If you didn't pick up that many people, you might not have gotten the one guy that was good. So if you don't,
stay active on the waiver wire.
Stay active on the waiver wire, and please, please, please
check your lineups.
Check your lineups. Set your lineups.
Don't be that guy who doesn't check their lineups and is the bottom.
It really ruins the entire integrity of the league, and
especially if it's a money league too.
Yeah,
and it's a little bit more.
And it makes no sense.
Free league, it's like well, whatever. But money league, okay, now there's something at stake.
And don't say yes if you're not going to play.
Yeah,
just don't even be in the league. We don't want you in the league.
Harsh words.
But this was
truth though.
This was kind of our live reaction. We hadn't really talked a whole bunch. We kind of looked at the list beforehand, but these were kind of our unadulterated opinions on each of these players.
I like that word too.
I think in the coming weeks we're probably going to get a little more in depth with each of the players.
You're gonna see those rankings change.
You're definitely gonna.
I did.
Oh boy,
you're gonna see the rankings
stuff
change
there from all this.
Oh man,
stuff?
Right.
I think my stomach's getting like a little from all
too
this
much.
food. All this
Dude,
food
you're getting
we've been
too
eating.
much fantasy today.
Tim's regurgitating. I think it's time to call it quits. Thank you for listening to the E.A.T.S podcast.
Eat it, hear it, live it.
Eat
Eric's not here today,
Take
but
a deuce right now.
I'm
No,
sure we'll be back again soon.
Yeah. So thanks for listening, guys. And if you have any comments or any criticisms of the players that we liked or disliked, feel free to leave a
Give
comment.
us a call.
Yeah,
Tim's
subscribe.
number 704.
Whoa.
Subscribe to us on Facebook and YouTube.
And also, we're happy to have thanks, Mr. Brandt, for
if you guys
for coming and hanging out with us.
If you guys heard any stomping, shaking, or extra noises in the podcast, that was Mr. Brandt doing his thing. So
I'm sure he'll be back on here.
At some point, yeah.
He'll be back.
Brandt's a big basketball guy. He's always played fantasy in every sense of the term, except for maybe hockey. But
I tried that one.
Yeah.
How'd that go?
I was in first place for the first month.